What's going on, everyone? So, JJ Redick is officially the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Personally, I'm stoked for this signing. He was the guy that all along I believed the Lakers were going to sign. He was the guy that I wanted from day one, right? Even when he was not even really a major thought. And I was like, hey, there's talks about him with Charlotte. Like, I actually think that he may have some potential for the Lakers and stuff. His relationship with LeBron, all that, right? A lot of talks about JJ Redick started to emerge. Ultimately, it was always him, right? There was talks about Dan Hurley and James Borrego and all that stuff, and I just kept repeating, like, hey, all signs point to JJ Redick. He's the head coach. I'm excited, right? Will he do a good job? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. A lot of people are so quick to just write him off and expect him to be terrible. I don't really know why you'd want to root for JJ Redick to be bad, right? Like, again, give the guy a shot is all I ask. I don't know what he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be bad. I don't know if he's going to be somewhere in between. I think he will. I hope he will. I think he has the IQ and the basketball knowledge, right, to do that. I think he has shown that he has the ability to really break down and simplify, play calling and, the X's and O's and stuff. I'm not really worried about the on-court stuff so much so as like everything else that goes in with being a head coach. But look, regardless, whether it was JJ Redick or Dan Hurley or, prime Phil Jackson, doesn't matter if you don't have the proper coaching staff and the proper roster. The Lakers have to make sure that they build out a proper roster that is really a contending team if JJ Redick is going to succeed. Doesn't matter how good of a head coach you are. If you don't have the talent, doesn't matter. I mean, look at Greg Popovich, considered one of, if not the greatest coaches ever. And, he's leading a bottom-feeding team because he just doesn't have the talent, right? So the Lakers got to put the talent to contend, and then also, in my opinion, put a roster of coaches around him to really help lift him and give success. And one of those coaches that is being heavily linked to the Lakers to be a part of JJ's coaching staff is Coach Rondo. Now, Rajon Rondo doesn't have a bunch of coaching pedigree either, but he is looked at and perceived as one of the best basketball minds the game has ever seen. And you listen to that guy talk, you listen to him talk about, no, I wasn't trying to beat the players. Forget the players. I'm smarter and better than all the players. I'm trying to beat the coach, right? Like, I love the idea of Rajon Rondo on the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, I do. I just think, to me, let's get this stew of basketball minds. You got to get, a Scott Brooks, or maybe it's a Stan Van Gundy, right? Or maybe it's, whoever, right? You got to get a former, Terry Stotts. That's the name that I was thinking, right? You got to get some head coaching experience on the bench. But I also want basketball minds, right? Like, that was one of the big things about the 2020 team. Yes, we had an incredible roster with incredible talent. We were the best team in the league all year. But you look at that bench, and it was just the meeting of the minds, right? You had Frank Vogel and his defensive sets and, his ability with the big men, right? And then you had Jason Kidd and his basketball mind and his ability with guards and the offensive sets. Then you had, Lionel Hollins and his history and his basketball knowledge and him kind of being the in-between guy. Then you had Phil Handy as development. But then you also had LeBron James, Rajon Rondo. You had Jared Dudley, right? You had all these guys that, even when they weren't coaches, were still extensions of the coach. Were still basketball minds. To me, I want to see and put together as many basketball minds on the bench as possible to really kind of give you the best advantage going in, right? Like, when you go to war, you want the best generals, right? You want the meeting of the minds to where they can all come together and what about this? What about this? No, like, nah, I don't know if that'll work. What about this, right? Rondo, I think, is one of those guys that the way he looks, perceives, and thinks basketball is just so invaluable. And I think to add him to the bench alongside JJ Redick, I think would go a long way. Now, there is the potential of, egos, right? And that's something you have to keep in mind as well, right? Like, Rondo is a guy that has an ego, right? Rondo is a guy that believes, he's the smartest guy in the room, and JJ Redick, he's going to be the head coach, right? So there is the concern of, do you put too many basketball minds on a bench to where they start conflicting and there's problems and there's chaos and drama, right? Like, you're already going to have to manage egos of players and manage players and your stars and whatnot. Last thing you want to have to do is manage your coaching staff as well. But I think the risk reward is invaluable. I don't necessarily think it'll be a problem, but again, I do think it's still something at least worth mentioning, right? Because Rondo, again, he could be on that bench and you can make a genuine argument that he is the smartest basketball mind on that bench, right? Like, you could have, say, JJ Redick, Scott Brooks, Phil Handy, and JJ Redick, right? Or Rajon Rondo, sorry. And there is a genuine argument that Rondo is the smartest basketball mind on that bench, right? So there is that conflict. And Rondo is not a guy that is known for, necessarily being super easygoing, right? But I think if you can use his mind and the way he perceives and looks at the game, and I just think that it's too good to pass up, right? Like, that was one of the benefits of having Kidd, is the way that he sees the game, the way that he sees things on the floor. Plus, he's another guy that can just call out the BS, right? He's another guy that can challenge LeBron, right? He's one of the few guys that can challenge LeBron's basketball mind even, right? Like, he's a guy that has a relationship with LeBron. He has a relationship with Anthony Davis. I think he'd go a long way for our guards and just the ability to develop and help kind of grow, especially guys like Jalen Hood-Schifino and, any other young guards that we may bring in or have, right? Like, I just think from all approach, from just being able to operate on the sidelines along your coaching staff, him being able to help develop and grow, various players on the roster. To me, it's just like, I think you gotta get the minds. Like, that was the beauty of the 2020 team. Is like, yes, the roster was incredible, incredibly talented front to back, but it also had the Avengers of a coaching staff. It had so many different basketball minds and perspectives and stuff. Like, but if you can kind of make an even better version of that, where you have, again, like Rondo, you can make an argument, he has the best basketball mind out of all those guys. The only guy that you can maybe argue is like Jason Kidd, right? So if you could have somebody like that, and then, JJ Redick and his basketball knowledge and the way that he prepares and just the competitor, and right, I want a competitive coaching staff. Rondo is a competitor. JJ is a competitor. Let me get some competitors on that bench that are willing to do whatever it takes. I think that goes a very long way and could be very impactful for the Lakers, right? But you also got to get talent too. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, like, yes, you got to go get Rondo, add him to the bench, and let's go? Do you think, no, like, go another route, right? Maybe you're worried about Rondo's ego, or just, like I mentioned earlier, too many basketball minds together. Maybe that becomes a problem. Like I said, personally, I think the risk is worth the reward. I think if you have a real opportunity to bring Rajon Rondo on the coaching staff, I think you got to do it. I think, to me, it's a no-brainer. But do you feel the same way? Do you think, like, yes, go get Rondo, bring him on the staff, doesn't matter, get it done, make it happen? How you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.